What a group, what a crowd, what a nice introduction from David. He's a great guy, I will tell you that. You're fired. So, I've been dealing with so many politicians lately. I see them all over the place. Sadly, politicians are all talk and no action. They're not going to get you to the promised land, that I can tell you. And I've heard it. And I mean, I heard one of them today saying something that I say all the time. You know what that is? Do you know the expression? Right? Say it. No? Well, they do. They copy that too. Right? Make America great again. I say it. I actually have an application for copyright for a long time. And then a certain politician got up, he said, make America, he saw me make a speech. I was talking about making America great again, which is my theme, which is important. I could come up with other themes, so can they. But they copy my themes all the time. So Mike Huckabee, the other day, he announced, he's a really nice guy. And by the way, the politician was Scott Walker, and he's a very nice guy also. And he was up in my office about 4 or 5 weeks ago, gave me a plaque. But then he copied my theme. I don't like it. So Mike Huckabee, another one I like a lot, but he said the other day that he's not going to cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. Well, I've been saying that. I'm the only one that's been saying that. So he saw I got this massive, crazy standing ovation. But here's the problem. If they didn't cut it, there's nothing they can do about it because they're not going to bring money in. I know where the money is. I know how to bring it in because that's what I do. I've really done a good job. I built an unbelievable company. I deal with Europe and I deal with Asia. I deal with China all the time. Made a lot of money in China. The Bank of America building, people don't understand. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America. I beat China. That's how I got it. 1290 Avenue, their biggest floor plates in Manhattan. I beat China. They're not happy. They don't like me. I like them, actually. I have them in my buildings. In fact, the largest bank in the world is in Trump Tower, China Bank. It's the largest in the world, a bank from China. In fact, when the chairman came up to visit me, that's a thing they do. They sign a lease and the chairman comes from China. And it's their head branch in the United States. They pay me a lot of rent. I like that. As opposed to us, we give the money back to them. And the chairman came in. I said, so tell me, how big is your bank? Compare it, let's say, to Citibank. He goes, Citibank is a small subsidiary. It's true. They have 400 million customers. So I respect China, but they're killing us because we have leaders that are incompetent. We have a president that either has bad wishes or is grossly incompetent and certainly can't negotiate. And the new trade deal, by the way, is a disaster. They don't talk about currency manipulation. That's the tool where all these countries are beating us. And they don't talk about it. The other thing is they talk about large areas where you have 9 countries and 11 countries. Well, that's not the way to do it. You have to do individual countries. Because nobody treats us well, because they have no respect for us. But some treat us better than others. You understand that. Now, when you do a vast number of countries, the bad ones get what's called favored nations. They get something that is very positive for them. And the good ones. But the bad ones take advantage. So the trade pact is a disaster. They have to talk about currency manipulation. Now, I've created tens of thousands of jobs over my career, tens of thousands. And I would be the greatest job president ever, in my opinion. But I really think I'd be even better at security. When I look at what's happening and the stupidity of what we're doing. As an example, fairly recently, we were helping what's left of Iraq. Think of that, what's left of it. Because, by the way, Iran has most of it, and the rest of it's had by ISIS, okay? So we spent $2 trillion, $2 trillion. We lost thousands of lives, and we have wounded warriors all over. I love the wounded warriors. They're the bravest people. Bravest people. And I see them, the wounded warriors. And so many of them aren't even wounded. They have no legs, in some cases, no, in some cases worse. But their hearts are unbelievable. They love the country. They're unbelievable people. And I help them a lot, and I love them. But think about what they ended up getting. So the other day I'm watching, and I'm seeing our great leaders, and in particular our president, explaining what we're going to do about a certain battle that took place a couple of months ago. And he's saying, we're going in 2 weeks. And we're going to hit him here and hit him there. And I'm saying, well, he must be smart. I'll bet he's telling him the opposite. It's subterfuge. But it wasn't. And I'm saying to myself, can you imagine General Douglas MacArthur? I was a big fan of MacArthur. Best grades in the history of West Point, General Douglas. To this day, General Douglas MacArthur. I was a big fan of his. General George Patton, I was a great fan of his. He was tough. Tough. Can you imagine if we had these guys today? I mean, can you imagine? Yeah, forget it. But as our president is saying when we're going to attack and what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be doing it, I said, can you imagine these people? They must be spinning in their grave when they watch this. They must be spinning. So I actually think that, and I'll be making a decision very soon. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy, and some people are going to be very surprised. And you have a very dishonest, I have to say this, I've dealt with usually the financial press, and I found them to be great. Of course, it's easier. You know, you have X dollars, it's like sort of easier, maybe. But I find many people in the political press to be great, but many, many, many people are very dishonest. Very dishonest. The political media, I think they have a lower rating than Congress, which is pretty hard to do. They have a lower rating than Congress. You know, it's sort of funny. Once some jerk wrote a story the other day about me. So I built up a net worth that's like close to 10 billion. It's probably over 10 billion. I employ thousands of people and literally tens of thousands over my life. Think of it. I have a show that was the talk. By the way, they want to renew it so badly. I'm saying no. Can you believe it? I give up a lot. You know, when these politicians run, they win, they lose, they run again, they win, they lose. It doesn't matter. It's just like a cycle. Doesn't matter. They win. You have guys that didn't win elections that are running for president. It's not supposed to be that way, right? Isn't it? But they run, and they lose, or they win. That's what they do. When I run, and if I say yes, and a few of you people pretty much know what I'm going to be doing, you know what happens? I give up hundreds of millions of dollars, and they can scoff, but I give up a tremendous hit television show because they have equal time rules. You're not allowed to be running for office. You believe it? You can't have a show and run for office. Explain that. Now, Obama can go and do all the shows on television, but you can't have a show. Explain the equal time crap to me. Okay? So, we're going to do something, I think, that's going to be very earth-shattering. And I ask, a lot of times I'll ask people, when was the last time you saw our great country? I love this country. But when was the last time you saw the United States win something? Positive news. Positive. Do you have any positive news? When did we beat China? You know, they just overtook us last year as the #1 economic power. You know that. We're now second. Unthinkable. It's unthinkable. And by the way, that's because they suck all the money out of us. And then what happens is even worse. They take it from us and then they loan it back to us. They have trillions of dollars of our debt. We're paying them interest. But when was the last time you saw anything good? When did we beat China? When did we beat Japan? You know, Japan is rearing its head again. They're devaluing their currency, the yen. Big league. Big league. They're devaluing. And we have people that sit around, don't let them, we don't do anything. They send their cars in by the millions. They make a fortune. When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet be sold in Tokyo? Okay? Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They don't let them come in, and if they did let them come in, the people wouldn't buy them. And I don't mind the second part, but the first part is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And so a friend of mine is a great manufacturer, and he calls me up. I told the story last week, and people said, please repeat it. He manufactures really good. And he sends stuff, and he calls me up. He says, oh, I'm so distressed. Why? Because I can't get my product into China. I said, you can't? Tell me about it. I want to make a speech about it. He said, I can't get it in. You know, we're supposed to have free trade. It's a lot of crap. We're supposed to have free trade. Free trade. He said, I can't get my product into China. Calls me up a week and a half later. They've accepted my product. You know, they find all sorts of reasons, even though it's much better than the product they make. Then he calls me up a week. They took it, but they're charging a surtax of 42%. I say, do people know this? Now, if you look at our trucks and things that we send into China, if you look at Boeing, how about Boeing, where they take all their technology? I love Boeing, and you love Boeing. Boeing is great. I happen to own a Boeing. I like Boeing. You know, I have a lot of choices. But they wanted their technology. You know that. You've heard that. And be careful with Boeing, because China's taken it. They said, we'll sell you, we'll buy your planes, but we want to take all of your patents, all of your technology. We want everything. Well, we're not buying from you. And now they're building massive plants to create and build airliners, okay? I'm not saying wrong. Look, I love the Chinese. I respect them. I told you I have tenants, but I also, they buy apartments. They pay me $25 million, $35. What, am I supposed to dislike these people? I love them. Who ever heard? I build an apartment, I sell it for $35 million, and then I'm supposed to dislike them? I respect them. And they respect me. You know, it's sort of interesting. There was a story in Business Week magazine. The 10 things that China most wants. Now think of it. Who hits China more than me? With respect, I hit them. No, it's true. It is respect. Their people, their negotiators are much smarter and much better than us. So it is respect. But what happens is the 10 things that China wants United States, right? They actually want the whole United States, but forget that. One of the 10 things is anything Trump. Can you believe it? I hit them and they want anything Trump. They love my product, my buildings, my everything. They love Trump because I think they respect me. I think they respect what I say. I have friends in China that call me and say, and I won't imitate the accent because they'll say it's racist to do that. So I'll give it in an American accent. Is that okay? I do that for the press. But I have friends in China that call me and they say, Donald, I can't believe that we're able to do these things that we're doing to the United States. I can't even believe it. What we're doing. Have you seen the deficits that we have with China, with Japan, with Mexico? Massive. We're losing fortunes, and we're losing our jobs, and we're losing our manufacturing. What do you do about it? Now, I had one person say, oh, you started talking about China, but you didn't say what to do about it. I said, you know, that's a good point. A reporter who I actually respect. He said, you talked really nicely. He gave me the highest mark for presentation, but not for content. I thought my content was better than my presentation. But he said one thing that made sense to him. He said, you didn't say what you do about China. You tax them 35% if they devalue their currency. And if they don't get their currency up, you tax them more. And the real number is 42%, by the way. And that's the tax that they're charging people in some cases. So you tax them 35%. You probably won't collect the tax, unfortunately, because they will behave so nicely. They will go down the tubes so quickly. We've rebuilt China. They've taken so much. You know, Apple. I love Apple. It's great. I have Apple stock. I did well with Apple stock. I'm not a stock person. I don't believe, you know, I like to control my own destiny. But I bought some stocks. One of the stocks goes up like a rocket. But do you consider that really an American company where 100% of their product is made in China and a couple of other places? And then they say, we're going to open up a factory in the United States. You know how many people are going to be there? About 3. It's like a PR statement. So China, just to solve my problem with this reporter, who, again, I respect greatly, and I think he's right, I would tax China, big league. And I hope they don't behave. I really hope they don't. Now, a lot of it's the messenger. You know, you could have one guy go in and say, we're going to tax you, and they'll laugh at him. You could have another guy go in, we're going to tax you, and they'll be petrified. The messenger. I'll give you an example. This deal with Iran is a disaster. It's a disaster. And so I wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, which I think everyone in this room has read, except for the people that are negotiating for us. They're babies. They're babies. So we have now 4 people over there. It was 3, now it's 4. They are living. One's over there because he's a Christian. I'm Protestant. He's a Christian, and he's in a cell because he's a Christian. He's a pastor. You know all about it. Correct. And he should be out immediately. Immediately. Correct. So we're negotiating nuclear. Now, the messenger. Remember the messenger. I have people that work for me. They went to Harvard. They went to the Wharton School of Finance. They go in. They don't do a job. I go in. I do the job. I say, what's wrong? Usually I fire these guys. I pay them a fortune. They go in. The same words, same everything. They don't come home. What you do is you go in and you say, fellas. Now, in all fairness to the ladies, they're all fellas on the other side. They haven't figured out that the ladies are smarter than the men. They haven't. In about 150 years. No. In 150 years, they'll figure that out. But right now, I hate to say it's all men on the other side of the table. I would say, fellas, you got 4 of our people. Before we start the negotiation on nuclear, and nothing more important than nuclear, because the power of those weapons. I mean, Obama talks about global warming. It's the biggest problem we have in the whole world. Tell Tom Brady, who had 12 feet of snow in front of his house in Boston, about global warming. You can't get out. Then they'll say, oh, but that's local. You know, it's funny. They start off with climate change. Now the new one is extreme weather, you know. They had global warming. That didn't work. Got too cold. They then had, it's true. They then had climate change. That wasn't going great. But now they came up with the beauty, extreme weather. Do you ever notice? That's the new word. And by the way, I believe in clean air. You know, you will not believe it. I've gotten so many environmental awards. People don't believe it. But I believe in clean air. I believe in all of that. I believe in everything. But I'd go in and I'd say very nicely, fellas, you got these people, let them out. Let them out. You don't want them. You don't need them. In a vicious prison, by the way. A prison that doesn't get worse. You got 4 people. It was 3. You got 4 people. They now have a writer. You got 4 people. Let them out. You don't need them. We want them. Our people are going nuts over it. Their families are devastated. Let them out. Sign of good faith. Sign of good faith. I'll tell you what will happen. Now, it's the messenger. Remember, it's the messenger. They'll say, great, we'll let them out. We don't even ask. We have never even brought up the pastor's name or the other names. We've never even made them a part of the negotiation. Stupid. Now, what happens, I guarantee, if I was in that position, they'd let them out. But if they didn't, the 5% chance, it's maybe less. Because that's, make it like, it's good for all of us. It's good for you. You want to make a deal. If they didn't, I'd walk out of the room and say, there's no deal. Because you can't deal with the people. They're unreasonable. Now, how about this? How about this? So we're paying them $700 million a month. We're paying Iran. Anybody know that? Got announced about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Reparations. We're paying them $700 million, billions of dollars. And the person that's in charge of the negotiation, Marie Harth, who's very nice. I love her glasses, those big, beautiful glasses. She said in a statement, we didn't want to talk about that we weren't paying them, but all of a sudden we started paying them. So we're giving them I think it's $710 million a month. $710 million, that's serious money, no matter how rich you are. And Marie said, Why? Because the question was asked, why don't you make that part of the nuclear negotiation? We don't want to complicate the nuclear negotiation. We don't want to complicate. Say, excuse me? One thing has nothing to do with the other. We don't want to complicate the nuclear negotiation. Do you believe that? So we're dealing with babies. And I call our president the 5-to-1 president. We got Bergdahl. They get 5 leaders, killers that want to kill us all. And they're all back on the battlefield, by the way. And we got this piece of garbage named Bergdahl, who years ago we would have shot for treason, and now they're saying, well, you know, he doesn't feel good, he had a hard life. When I saw his father standing with Obama, I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. I love the guys at Duck Dynasty. They stay at my luxury hotels. But this did not look like Duck Dynasty, guys. This was just... So even though some people are copying my expression of make America great again, they'll never be able to do it because they don't have the ability. I'll tell you another thing. I don't need money. If I run, I don't need any money. I made a lot of money. In fact, one of the things I'll do is show I made a lot of money. And if I run, I'm going to put all of the brain, 100%, 110%. I don't care about a building. Do I care? I'm building on Pennsylvania Avenue, brand new. I just finished Doral in Miami, most incredible. Took an old place, tired. I made it the hottest club in the country, hottest resort in the country. The old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue, right between the White House and Congress. Going to be. I don't care about that. I don't care. My daughter Ivanka. You ever hear of Ivanka? She's very smart. She can run it, enjoy it, have a good life. I would put 100%, 150% of my energy into making our country rich again. Now somebody said, oh, don't say that. That's not nice. You're talking about money. You're talking about rich. I said, what's wrong? If we don't become rich, then these dopes that want to cut your Social Security because China's taking all our money, and Mexico, the worst. What they're doing to us on the border is incredible. It's incredible. People coming over like a sieve, and they're taking our jobs. They're building factories. Ford just announced a $2.5 billion auto plant. They're going to make the cars there and give them to us. That means we're not going to have the jobs. I would call up the head of Ford. I'll give you an example. I wouldn't even get one of my friends from Wall Street. I know all the killers. I have the good ones, the bad ones, the stupid ones. I know everyone. I know the underrated ones. You know, some are overrated. Some of the guys you read about, they're overrated. But I know the really, but I wouldn't even do that. I'd do this is too easy. I'd call up Mullally, who's a great guy. I'd say, listen, congratulations on your plant in Mexico. I think it's great, $2.5 billion. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to charge you 35% on every car that comes into the country. And because you're not building it in the United States, and we're not going to let you come across with the illegals, the cars, we got everything coming across. We got illegals, we got free cars, we got no jobs. I am going to charge you 35% for every car that's made, or truck, or part, made in that factory, and you're going to pay it. And he's going to say, no way, no way. Here's what's going to happen. The lobbyists will come and see me, but I don't give a shit about lobbyists, okay? I don't care. So the lobbyists will come and see me. Or some guy that gave me $100,000 campaign contribution, puts it in a pack. How about these packs? You're not allowed to talk to anybody once the pack is formed. You can form it, pour money, you're not allowed to pack. Give me a break. They all put their best friend in charge. They don't talk. They go play golf. They don't talk. Let's not talk about the pack. But I don't need PACs. I use my own money, you know. But some guy puts some money into the PAC, and they go to the president, not me, and they'll say, you know, this guy gave you $100,000. You're really killing him. He's got Ford stock. Or he's got something else. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, okay. Okay, you can build and we won't charge you. That's the way this country's run. Look at what's going on with Hillary. Look at all those deals. They're saying, no deals. Give me a break. Every one of them's a deal. But every single person will be bought off by the people, by the lobbyists, by the funds, it's all of it. With me, you know what I'd say? Hey, forget it. Now, let me tell you just to end. So here's what's going to happen. Mr. Mullally, the head of Ford, will call me up. First he'll be irate. How dare you? This is free trade. And I say, no, it's stupid trade, not free trade. And I like him, by the way. So call me up and say, he'll call me once, please, call me again. By the end of, I would say maximum 1 week, probably one day, he will announce that they're not building the plant in Mexico, that they're going to build it in South Carolina or Tennessee or this or that. The politicians will never get you there, believe me. So I'm going to be making a decision very soon. Now, you know, I say it, and it's very funny. I have the biggest crowds, I have the biggest standing ovations, and not because they like me. I think I'm actually a nice person. I think I'm a nice person. But it's not because they like me. I have the biggest crowds, I get the biggest standing ovations, and then I read these sleazebag reporters, and they say, Donald Trump had a smattering of applause, a smattering. And they'll say about some guy that's a loser politician that's up and nobody's even watching him, he gave a brilliant speech. They're very dishonest. But I will say this. Our country has tremendous potential. We have to act quickly. We cannot let it continue to go down the drain. It can be turned very fast. For my friend, the reporter, China will be taxed big league. And we're going to bring jobs back to this country. We're bringing jobs back, and if we don't bring the jobs back, we're bringing the money back. I don't care. I'll take either one because the money relates to the jobs. Mexico will not be taking advantage of us. They will not be having open borders. And the greatest builder is me. And I would build the greatest wall you have ever seen. The greatest. Thank you. Thank you. And just to finish, you know who's going to pay for the wall? Mexico. With all of the money that they have taken from us, they will be paying for that wall. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll be talking to you soon. Thank you. Thank you.